Hello all, welcome to Social Justice Prelims Model Question Series. We will now look into one of the key topic which is expected for the next prelims. The topic which we are going to look is on Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. Let us see a sample question based on that. Consider the following statements on Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. First one, though the scheme is an entitlement based where the beneficiary is decided on the basis of family being figured in SCCC database, the benefit does not include both pre and post hospitalization expense. That is the first statement given to us. Second one, PMJAY seeks to accelerate India's progress towards the achievement of universal health coverage and sustainable development goal 3. SDG 3 and universal health coverage is what it is going to try to achieve is the second statement. Third one is to ensure that nobody is left out, especially girl child, women, children and elderly. There will be no cap on family size and age in the mission. These are the three statements given to us with the options as 2 only, 3 only, 1 and 2 only and 2 and 3 only. We will now go and see what basically the scheme per se is. Under the ambit of Ayushman Bharat or Ayushman Bharat, this scheme Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana is mainly designed to reduce the financial burden of poor and vulnerable groups. So first one is to reduce the financial burden for poor and vulnerable groups and also to ensure that they are having quality access to healthcare services. Because as you would know, there can be scenarios wherein which the expenses based out on foreign health care can be very massive. So poor people may not be easily able to afford that. So that is in line with that, to reduce their financial burden is one idea of the scheme of Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. Then, this scheme, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, seeks to accelerate India's progress towards achieving the aim of universal health coverage. That is, universal health coverage means more number of people are coming under the ambit of health insurance schemes and in terms of health coverage. And this scheme is something which is definitely playing a role in terms of achieving the Sustainable Developmental Goal 3. Now, what is Sustainable Developmental Goal 3? The SDGs, as you would know, there are many goals which has been listed so that that could be achieved for the sustainable development of the nation. SDG 3 is a goal which is saying that to ensure healthy life and promote well-beings for all at all ages. That is, healthy life and promote their well-beings. So, Jan Arogya Yojana is a scheme which is playing a role in terms of the achievement of Sustainable Developmental Goal 3. Then, what the scheme does is, this scheme provides, or this is an insurance scheme wherein which this will provide financial protection to close to 10.7 crore poor families. So, assuming that let us take the average standard size in a family as 5, which means this scheme is going to cover close to 50 crores people in our nation. So that is the massive range which the scheme is going to cover. And how are the beneficiaries or the people who are going to get the benefits under the scheme identified? Beneficiaries are identified based on the SECC data or the socio-economic caste census data of 2011. So SECC data is the input based on which the beneficiaries are identified for the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. Then this will have a benefit cover of 5 lakh per family on a family floater basis. So understand the term that or something which is known as a family floater basis. It precisely means that rupees 5 lakh will be given for a family, and any member in that family who is having a health related issue and or who is being hospitalized can utilize that with the cap of maximum of 5 lakh for that respective family is the idea in this scheme. Then this scheme, Jan Arogya Yojana, is covering the hospitalization expenses for two types of admissions, that is for secondary care as well as for the tertiary care is the ambit which is coming under the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, secondary care and tertiary care. Then this scheme has identified close to 1300 plus medical packages. So medical packages is again a feature in this Jan Arogya Yojana, and that medical packages would cover surgery, medical daycare treatments including medicines, diagnostics and transport. So what do you mean by medical package? It is saying that okay, if a person is having a disease say X and that is listed or that has been already covered under the medical packages scheme, he is going to get the insurance benefit based out of it, that is it. Then to ensure that nobody is left out, especially the woman, children and girl child, this scheme is coming up with the idea of there will not be any cap on family size, there will not be any cap on family size, age, gender, etc. in the mission. So what do you mean by the idea that there will not be any cap on family size? That is, irrespective of the members or irrespective of the number of members in the family, they can avail the benefits provided that maximum amount which is allocated to a family is rupees 5 lakhs. So remember that there is no cap on family size, age and gender in the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana mission. Then what this scheme basically does is it empower a poor person to go to a hospital, avail the treatments which he want for secondary or for tertiary admissions and do those treatments without any cash. That is, you just like probably how employees who are belonging to corporators, you go to a hospital, avail the treatment, just show your ID card and come back without any out of pocket expenditure. That kind of benefit is what the scheme is going to give to the poor people. So cashless, paperless facilities, understand that these facilities can be availed definitely in public hospitals and also in private hospitals which are empaneled under this scheme, which means that there can be a list of X number of private hospitals wherein which the people will be getting the benefit as well. So benefit will be available for people in both public as well as in the private hospital is one key point which we need to remember. Then the benefit also includes pre and post hospitalization expenses. Pre and post hospitalization expenses is covered under the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. Then this scheme is an entitlement based and the beneficiary is decided. The people who are going to get the benefit of the scheme is decided on the data from socio-economic caste census. We have already told this. Now, one key feature of this scheme is that the pre-existing conditions are covered from day one of the policy. Usually, when a person is going to avail an insurance policy, the insurance companies, especially the private companies, do make a check and say that okay, this person is having X, Y or Z diseases, and for these diseases, this person is not going to get any insurance benefit. So that is one challenge, which usually people have once they are going to take the insurance. But under Gen or under this scheme, that is even the pre-existing conditions. Suppose a person is going to take an insurance and he is already having some diseases and he needs to get a treatment for that. That is absolutely possible under this scheme of Jan Arogya Yojana. Then the only thing in which you need to do is that you should be a poor person and people's name should be identified from the socio-economic caste census. So you just go to a hospital and show a valid ID card. So ID cards like Aadhaar, election ID card, passport, etc. So any valid document which substantiate your ID card is something which you need to carry for availing the treatment from the hospital. Then the ministry. So as you would know, in a social justice scheme related part, we need to have a proper understanding of the ministry which is going to implement the scheme. So this is a health related scheme and this scheme is implemented by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Then what is the impact this scheme is going to have to the economy in overall? As you would know, one of the key challenges which India was facing was that the expenditure from the government side on the healthcare facilities for our people was much lesser than compared to the GDP value of our nation. So imagine a case where 5 lakh for one family and close to 50 crore people are going to get benefited out of this scheme from the government, which means that there can be an increased health expenditure by the government under the scheme. That is one impact which this scheme is going to make. Then significantly reduce out-of-pocket expenditure for hospitalization. So what do you mean by out-of-pocket expenditure? Yes. So if you are going to a hospital, currently what we do is, we pay the money for availing the treatment from the hard-earned money from our pocket. And instead of that, this scheme is now giving us a facility of cashless incentives where you just go to the hospital, avail the treatment and show the hospitals enough records saying that you are a member who is identified under the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana scheme. That is it. Then, so definitely one benefit which is going to prosper out of this is the idea of improved health outcomes for our people. Then, when fully implemented, this Pradhan Mantri JAY scheme will be world's largest government funded health protection mission. So that is the massive ambit of this scheme, and that is how this is going to impact a large number of people. So let us know a quick revision before we go and solve the question. So what was this scheme all about? This is conceived for, or the key idea was to reduce the financial burden of our people, one, and also to ensure that quality healthcare is given to the people or to the citizens of our nation. It is in line with the idea of universal health coverage and sustainable developmental goal 3, which is definitely in relation to health. Then Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, that is, it is intending to cover close to 10.7 crore poor deprived rural families, which means approximately close to 50 crore beneficiaries is what this scheme is going to make an impact upon, and these people are identified from the socio-economic caste census data. Now the idea that this amount can be used on a family floater basis, which means that in a family anybody can use this amount provided that the maximum limit is not reached. The idea of medical packages is there in the scheme, or the scheme is for hospitalizations in secondary and in tertiary care. Medical packages is there. There is no cap on family size, age and gender in this mission. And the idea of cashless treatment is something, and paperless treatment is something which is one of the key idea of the scheme. This benefits is including both pre and post hospitalization expenses. Pre, that is before getting admitted into a hospital, expenses which you are having for diagnostics, for medicines, etc. That too can be availed under the scheme. Then all pre-existing conditions are covered from day one. A person is going to subscribe this policy upon, and once the scheme has been implemented, this is going to have a massive impact upon people. Only thing which you need to do is you need to have a proper ID card, a government issued ID card suggesting your valid identity. Then implemented by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, impact could be reduction of out-of-pocket expenditure from the citizens, and there can be an increase in the health spending with respect to the GDP of our nation. So increased health spending is, or increased health spending by the government is one of the another feature which we will see, and once this is being implemented, we can expect a lot of positive health outcomes. That is it. Now we will go back to the question and quickly solve it. So the first statement is saying that though the scheme is an entitlement based and the people are figured based on SCCC database, the benefit does not include both pre and post hospitalization expenses. So we have seen that it is including both pre and post hospitalization expenses, which means the first statement is wrong. Second statement, this seeks to accelerate India's progress toward the achievement of universal health coverage and sustainable developmental goals, which is a correct statement. To ensure that nobody is left out, there will not be any cap on family size and age in the mission, which is also a right statement, which means statement 1 is wrong, 2 and 3 is right, or the option could be option D. Thank you so much.